there are different tactics
Hmm.
across marketing that you can use, but really only so many of them work. And it really is all about the messaging that you're deploying alongside
Yeah.
those tactics, right?
Hey, everybody, and welcome back to Behind the Franchise. This is your host, Paul Elinger. As always, we've got another guest on the show today who's a great builder of multi-location franchise brands. So I'm super excited. Megan Stewart, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me.
Absolutely. No, thank you for your time today. We really appreciate it. And maybe just to lay the context a little bit, if you would, let the audience just know a little bit about your background and how you got into your current role, as a partner at the Grow CMO.
Yeah, for sure. So I took a definitely non-traditional route to where I am today as a fractional
Hmm.
CMO. So I started way back in the day as a TV reporter for local news. So think about like the people that stand out on the side of the road.
Pouring rain.
Yes, pouring rain or during a blizzard. I worked in the Midwest saying, "Hey, don't come outside. It's a blizzard." So that was me. That was how I got my start. It was also a wild time just in social media and
Hmm.
everything. It was 15 years ago. And so like Facebook
Everything
was
was just popping off. Yeah.
big, Twitter. I don't think Instagram was really a big thing at the time. So
Yeah.
it was really interesting. Went from being a TV reporter, eventually got sick of getting the call at 2 o'clock in the morning to come in with my snow boots.
Imagine. Yeah.
And I actually started then working in digital and content marketing
Mhm.
for Scripps Media, which is the broadcast company where I was a TV
Yeah.
reporter. Worked into that, did that for a while, and then just started working my way up in marketing.
Yeah.
From there, I was a digital manager, understanding how to run like digital campaigns, like PPC campaigns and display and
Yeah.
everything. And then eventually found myself coaching a network of business owners
Interesting.
for a product supplier on how to do marketing and how to grow their companies. So eventually they could buy more products.
There you go.
Yeah, and then from that role, that supplier actually started a holding company
Mhm.
to buy up some of their dealers that were looking for a succession plan. And so then
Sure.
I was head of marketing for that company as they were buying up new companies. And so I was working with those marketing
Yeah.
managers and directors and leadership teams. And then one day, my old mentor, or current mentor still, Brooke Janisek, who you actually interviewed.
Shout out, Brooke. Yeah, this is the sequel episode.
Yes, shout out Brooke. She's amazing. She called me and she started the Grow CMO, the
Mhm.
fractional CMO company that I'm a partner in. And she called me one day and she said, "Hey, I'm actually about to take a full-time CMO job for this national franchisor. Do you want me to introduce you to my clients?"
Yeah.
And I was like, "Okay, sure.
Sure.
Let's just
Yeah.
see what happens." And it worked out. And so yeah, so I essentially took over her book of business, and I am now kind of running the Grow CMO.
That's awesome. And yeah, to your point, this is our first like sequel-ish episode where two people are so connected. And I think it makes for a compelling first question, right? Like I think for Brooke, she was looking to be able to dive deeper into a single brand, she was kind of talking through that. And you're going the opposite direction. I don't think any path is the right path or the wrong path, but maybe what motivates you, to be excited by having kind of your hands on multiple different brands at any given time.
Yeah, I think, well, ADD, first of all. No, I'm just kidding. But I love being able to like switch gears and like, okay, we're working on
Yeah.
this, we're making progress on this. Okay, that's good enough to move on. Okay, great. You take it from here. Now we're working on this and we're getting this stuff going. I think there's no marketer out there that hasn't had to like spin multiple plates, or really any business
Yeah.
like position. Like you're always having to balance. And so I just benefit from, having like I've already done it before. I've already kind of stood up lead gen programs. I've already, managed vendors, all this
Yeah.
stuff. So it's stuff I've already done. It's just new players sometimes that I'm working with.
Yeah, and just even the way you just described that, like how much of this is heralding back to the reporter days where it's like, okay, something's on fire, let's go do the story, wrap it
Totally.
up, tie a bow on it, get it out, get to the next one. Like, is that a career commonality I'm noticing there?
Yeah, had I known that that was going to be the best training ever for the real world, I maybe would have stuck it out a little bit longer. There's actually a day where I got the call and like got the call to getting the call in news means drop everything you're doing and come to the
Sure.
station, right? So I got the call, the morning anchor was out, so I was going to anchor the morning.
Mhm.
So you know, you're just like putting on makeup, you're looking through
Yeah.
scripts, you're doing all that stuff. It's like 2 o'clock in the morning, you're chugging coffee, the show goes on in like 2 hours, you've got to put it all together. And then after that, I had a big story lined up that was like the biggest one that I had done about like the water pipes in the
Oh.
prison and in the
This is
hospital
like a
system.
large, serious story.
Yeah, we're like
Yeah.
leaching lead into the water and it
Oh
was
my
a big
gosh.
deal. Yeah, it was a big deal. So I couldn't reschedule that.
Sure.
So then I had to do those interviews and I ended up going live in the 10 o'clock news.
Mhm.
10 o'clock at night news,
Wow.
the 10 p.m. So that was just crazy days like that. I covered the 2016 Iowa caucus, which was
Oh, wow, that was a
yeah,
big one.
yeah, that one
Because
was,
Iowa was like a turning point state back then too.
yeah, especially in that year. It was like, obviously didn't know at the time, crazy historic moment looking back at it.
100%, yeah.
But that's just like, 2, 3 days where you don't sleep. You're just churning and
Jeez.
burning. So yeah, so I guess I hadn't really thought about it till you asked, but yeah, uh, journalism and TV news, you're just always just trying to move something forward so you can have a story to turn that day.
Yeah. Yeah.
Same thing with marketing. You're just working on a lot of things so that way you can keep getting results and, hopefully show improvement over time of what you're working on. So,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, that makes a ton of sense. And maybe wanting to dive into a little bit of your time at Thrasher Partners, right? And so I think it's a really interesting time and place to be, right? Like roll ups are a very unique, different thing. The brand is positioning itself a little bit differently, I can imagine, than if they're not in a roll up phase. What was that like, kind of overseeing such a large scale operation from the marketing perspective? When you are bringing a lot of different pieces together and trying to make them a sum that's greater than its parts.
Yeah, for sure. So it was crazy.
Yeah.
There's uh team was working really, really hard, traveling a lot, not a ton of sleep. But I will say like one of the huge benefits that I don't think every holding company gets to benefit from is like it was the same services, like it was the
Mhm.
same type of companies, just in different markets.
Yeah.
So, I think I mentioned a playbook earlier. Same thing, right? We know what works. Let's implement it in this market if it's not already being implemented. And then let's
Yeah.
work with the marketing director, marketing manager, or whomever is in place currently to elevate to what we need them to be. A lot of them were super happy to get
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
guidance. So it was
Additional
good for
resources.
me because,
Yeah.
yeah, I got to, work with them and develop those relationships. And then sometimes when there wasn't someone, it was like, okay, and then you're also the
You're also now
marketing,
the person.
yeah, you're the marketing specialist. So
Yeah.
for these three different companies. So good luck. But yeah, it was again, I think it just really reinforced to me like there are different tactics
Hmm.
across marketing that you can use, but really only so many of them work. And it really is all about the messaging that you're deploying alongside
Yeah.
those tactics, right? So, like anybody can run
Yeah.
social ads.
Sure.
What is the value and the message of the social ads that you're running? And that really does impact results for sure.
Yeah. Makes a ton of sense. And I'm curious, kind of in that role, you kind of touch on it, same services, different markets. What were some of the commonalities between things that were working in every market or maybe weren't working in every market?
Yeah. So I would say I hate Performance Max. So
Sure.
if there's anyone out there that is getting really good results with PMax, please DM me and let me
I'll
know.
second that one. Yeah, we'll do an episode on it because it's a whole thing.
Yeah, I just it would work for a little spark of time and then just would fall apart. So and again, it's
Yeah.
newer to as a Google product, but so that would be one thing. Is it's like okay, let's dive into your Google campaigns. Where are you spending them?
Yep.
Oh, you're spending them on Performance Max. Well, let's change that. Let's do a PPC like keyword driven strategy and
Mm,
try it for a month or two. See if we get better results.
yeah.
let's just see. Of course, that would be what would happen. Social media ads, those do work if you have lead follow up
Hmm.
in place where you can really, really aggressively follow up with the people that are,
Yeah.
um, you know, ending up as leads from like a meta campaign.
Hmm.
That's for sure. And then, honestly, in the space that we were in, traditional media, like a broadcast TV schedule
Yeah.
in the right day parts would work head and shoulders above
Interesting.
like a CTV or like an OTT
Yeah.
campaign. And I don't know why that is, and maybe that's changed a little bit.
Sure.
I think more people are subscribing to cable, or to networks now, but it still worked for us. Our audience also that we are trying to reach skewed a bit older.
Yeah.
Um,
Makes sense. Did you see radio working in the same way? Because I feel like that's one that's just not talked about a lot. But I mean, everybody gets in their car, and I feel like specifically the what's called it 45, 50 years and older aren't plugging in their phone. They're not connecting to CarPlay or Android Auto. Like, was that also a strong channel for you guys?
yeah, radio was not just because I don't think we invested in it.
Sure.
Let me take that back. There is a market that invested in a radio show that they were like on the show with
Oh,
the
interesting.
host
Yeah.
and had like endorsements, from this host that had a lot of brand equity
Mm.
with that audience. They saw results and it was actually kind of a smoke and deal. So I was like, yeah, keep doing that.
That's
Um,
almost like a local influencer deal. Almost. It
yes,
sounds like more so
exactly.
than
Yeah.
radio. Yeah.
Yeah, that's more so what it was as opposed to just like the spots and dots on the radio.
Yep.
But we also didn't really invest heavily in it. I will say though, my dad he turned 70 and
Shout out, Dad. Happy
yeah,
70th.
shout out dad. He upgraded his Suburban. So now he's got like a 2021 Suburban that
There
does
we
have
go.
Bluetooth.
There we go.
Since getting a vehicle with Bluetooth, my dad, who is not tech savvy whatsoever, now listens to podcasts. So I do
Wow.
actually think that,
Podcast advertising.
yes,
Yep.
exactly. Hi, Dad, if you're listening. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, exactly. It's on
But
Spotify and Apple Podcasts, sir. Wherever you find your podcasts, you can find us there.
yes, like and subscribe.
Yep.
Uh, but so anyway, long story short with that, I do think radio is actually probably a bit more disruptable.
Mm,
Just because it does really require you to be in your vehicle and like tuned to a certain station,
yeah.
which I'm sure you could probably say the same about TV. I think maybe it's just going to take a little bit longer to like totally lose that audience.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. And I think the thread between Thrasher and Grow CMO pretty obvious right there, right? Like multiple brands, multiple locations, but the nuance is, I guess, they can be far more separate in services offered. So
Mhm.
I'm curious, as you kind of grew into this new role with Grow CMO, what have been the challenges to that, right? Like, how are you switching your brain mentally between brands? Because I'm assuming, obviously, there's tactics and strategies that work, right? But building each brand is a unique experience. It's got to be.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, just for example, my two main clients right now, one of them is in the automotive space,
Yeah,
and the other one is a national health and wellness franchise.
yeah. Couple of
Definitely
different things
having
there.
to, switch gears as I'm talking between the two of them. But I think something that's been really, really helpful for me
Hmm.
is I learn a lot from the clients too. Like my
Yeah.
marketing beliefs get challenged. An example is I used to always think like social media is just kind of like this beast you have to feed. It's just like this
Hmm.
like thing that you have to have a presence on in case somebody finds you and goes to your social media just to like check to make sure that you're still in business after that.
Right, right. Trust verification, right?
Yeah. Yeah. So I didn't really, ever put too much time in thinking of how to grow it from like an audience standpoint. It was more so
Mm,
like, let's just put out photos and some videos and some valuable content, but like we've got all these other things to focus on. It's, not top priority.
yeah,
Whereas, one of my clients, I would say is like influencer status. I would consider them. They've got almost 500 followers across all their channels.
definitely. I mean, that's not even, that's
500,000
not,
followers.
yeah, that's not even a micro influencer. That's like a meaningful influencer. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So 500,000 across all their channels, nearly. And they truly do like post a video with a new product and
And
the
the sales
phone
happen.
starts ringing.
Yeah.
And so having seen the power of organic reach in that sense, I'm like,
Hmm.
okay, I got to rethink everything.
Yeah.
How, like, let's reverse engineer. How did they build this audience? And like, how could I apply that to other clients
Yeah.
to get that same result? Because I do think that that is the future, honestly, just the way
100%.
that things are going. And so now having seen with my own eyes how a company has done it, I'm like, okay, this can happen for
Yeah.
everybody. I've even started posting more on my own social
There we
channels
go. Let's go.
because of it. Yeah. So just screaming into the void on LinkedIn.
LinkedIn is an interesting one because I think LinkedIn is in a cultural identity crisis right now. It doesn't know what it wants to be because it's pushing this like short form video stuff, but like does business education short form video actually work like it does on TikTok or Reels? Like
Mhm.
it's a weird space right now, I think.
Yeah, totally. And I'm just like, I'm not even trying to hack the algorithm. I'm just trying to get myself to post every day. So, like, do as I say, not as I do as but yeah. So yeah, so that's been great. It is hard though sometimes, especially when both clients are needing something from me right
Sure.
now, or even need to
Prescient,
hop
yeah.
on the phone about something. And I work with other companies
Hmm.
as well. So time management and follow up has been it's something
Yeah.
that I've definitely had to get a bit more organized
You've got
on.
to have a beautiful calendar to execute, I feel.
Yeah,
It's just got to be perfect.
right. No, I can show you my notebook. It's like doodles and like writing in
Oh,
the
okay.
margin.
You and I have the same brain then, because I'm the same way. But my problem is I'll end up with multiple notebooks, and then I'm just lost. Like I've got notes here, I've got notes there, and I'm like, what have I done to myself?
Yes. Like this one says Jerry Seinfeld on it. I don't know. I don't know what that note was, but
We're going
maybe
for
it'll come
shock
back.
and awe. Shock and awe is our next growth campaign.
Yeah, right.
Um, no, I think that's really interesting, and I think you make a good point about how um, selling to an audience is really effective over social, right? And I think people who don't do it naturally, specifically in automotive, home service industries, where they're not digitally forward native users of social media, it's hard to get them to do that. But I personally think it's one of the strongest thing you can do as a franchisee, right? Because you are a micro influencer in your community as a business owner, and
Mhm.
like you've got an interesting perspective in shaping that community. So I think we're very big proponents of the same thing, where it's like it's uncomfortable, you're not going to get engagements up front, it's going to take time, but it can be meaningful over time.
For sure. And really the uncomfortability is just like your head. Like
Oh,
what
yeah.
that narrative is in your head too. Like
Yeah.
I'm like, "Oh my gosh, this LinkedIn post is not good. No one's going to like it." And it's like no one did like it. It's okay.
It's
Like
all good. Guess what? It just means it goes away.
we're going to hit it tomorrow. Like it'll be fine. And something I'll say to that too is a lot of companies, ones that I've worked with and ones that I've seen, pre-pandemic and over the pandemic, like grew on like arbitrage. So they
Yeah.
would, cost per click at a certain thing, sell the product at a certain thing, capture the value in between.
Yep.
It's just like in so much flux that
Oh
businesses
yeah.
like that are way riskier and like really have been dinged from a profitability standpoint. Whereas like these organic growth businesses and the
Hmm.
ones that are providing the service or the products that everyone wants to tell their friends and family about,
Yeah.
like those are the businesses that are really poised to survive and thrive. I think
100%.
long term.
Yeah, I think, and it touches on an interesting next question, right? Like there is a really wild macroeconomic situation happening right now, right? And I think on top of that, Google's going through a lot of changes that are affecting their PPC, their search results, all of that. What are you seeing as the most pressing challenges for brands today? Having kind of this 30,000 foot view that you have over multiple industries, multiple brands.
Yeah, that's a great question. I would say a lot of brands are still very much in the like trying to solve problems that they have right now.
Sure.
They're of course like having conversations of okay, if this happens, what's our strategy for this? What's our game plan for this?
Hmm.
in the health and wellness space, like that's changing a lot. There's a lot of players that are always,
100%.
entering that space. There's a lot of influencers that are spewing information that isn't necessarily accurate,
Yeah,
things
that's
like that. So,
fair.
so they're a good example of, hey, like we've got this right now that we need to solve. Yes, this is our game
Yep.
plan to solve this immediate from a marketing standpoint. But
Mhm.
what is our long-term position um, on some of these things so that way we can continue to stand out? And I will say the leadership team that I'm working with and that client, like they are thinking about that. And really
Yeah.
from a marketing standpoint, I'm like, oh my gosh, I gotta like run to catch up.
Yeah.
So it's really and like that's even completely independent of what's going to happen with Google,
Sure.
which I will say their clients a lot of their new clients are from word of mouth and
Hmm.
from people who have experienced their services and are telling everyone.
Yeah,
So
that's awesome.
that's not going to impact them that much. I talked about my automotive client. They're, putting stuff out on social. That works really, really well for them. But, costs and profitability with tariffs and like overall economic climate and everything. Yeah, it really it becomes crucial to know your numbers, get
Yep.
a like firm grip on your monthly financials, understand
100%.
like inputs and everything. And as we get really dialed in from a marketing standpoint, really getting a clear source of ROI on that
Yeah.
is is really crucial. Should there be a time where there is, you know, a cash crunch or something like
Yeah,
that.
that you got to figure out. Yeah, yeah.
Mm.
We interviewed Felicia Reeves on here, who's CMO at Power Brands, and that was her biggest piece of advice for marketers was become best friends with the P&L. And so, kind of building off of that, like you obviously have a very similar standpoint there. How do you balance kind of that performance data driven side versus the creative brand building aesthetic side, right? Because I think they can be diametrically opposed at times, but they
For
should
sure.
try to be in lockstep as much as possible. How do you work through that with the brand?
Yeah, for sure. It really kind of depends on the culture of the brand,
Mm,
I will say first. So there are, I've worked with clients that really want to invest
mhm.
in really good creative. And then there are ones that see more value in getting really scrappy
Yeah,
from that standpoint. So it kind of depends on the culture. And then also, like how much wiggle room do we have between, what we're allotted from a marketing budget standpoint
hmm,
and like what we know that we're going to need to spend or invest in order to hit our goals.
yeah.
And if it's a really tight margin, then
Let's
sometimes
be
a lot of that
scrappy.
budget is like
Yeah.
performance marketing, which isn't a great long-term strategy. It's that arbitrage that we were
Yep.
talking about, but it's necessary for a time. And then sometimes you have, more bandwidth or you've got more room between what you need to spend and how much you have or
Yep.
are able to spend on a monthly basis. And then you can use that to invest in, better creative and all that
Yeah.
stuff. So it just kind of depends on how the business is set up. Um, at least that's how, I've had to approach it. And then of course, obviously, fighting for that budget when it's absolutely necessary. I think being able to have really data driven, ROI driven conversations
Yep.
of like with a CFO and with
Hmm.
an owner or a president or CEO of like, hey, this is why this is so important. And yes, it's going to be an expense in
Yep.
like
An
right now.
investment, right? It's an investment.
Yeah, but long term, it's an investment, and then this is how we expect it to pay off.
Yep.
Um, so that's kind of how it depends really on how the business is set up. There's some sometimes really obvious investments that I would make, and then I
Yep.
look at a P&L and I'm like, oh no,
Just kidding.
we'll wait a minute,
Yeah.
we'll let this play out, and then we'll go for the ask.
Yeah, yeah. No, that makes a ton of sense. And I think building on that, right, the ask, I think it's a really interesting component for marketers because I think your job is you almost have to be an advocate for marketing in general and for the budget for marketing in general, right? More so than maybe some other departments within an organization. how do you go about building that influence, across multiple brands? Because I'm sure there's marketers out there just being like, oh, I can't even get the CEO to make this one decision for me, right? And you're dealing with multiple CEOs and multiple C suites. Like, how do you go about building that influence internally with these brands to become a key decision maker with them?
Yeah, for sure. I will say surprisingly, I feel like I had more struggle with it when I was in-house.
Oh, interesting. That's
Than,
interesting.
the other way around. Because at this point, like, they're already investing in me, right? So
Yeah.
they already know that their need is great enough where they're investing in outside help.
Hmm.
And then why would they invest in me and then not, utilize any of my
Yeah.
recommendations or let
Yeah.
me, lead? So I will say I wasn't expecting that, but it's that
That's interesting.
conversation is easier because like, without having to like build a ton of trust and have a ton of time
Yeah.
with the team, I'm already kind of being deferred like those
Yeah.
decisions and like, that level of respect. Maybe that's not the right way to say it, but like they just
Sure.
already see me as that based on how I came in.
Yeah.
Whereas with
They're taking you for granted less, right?
yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
you said it, not me. No.
yeah. I can,
Uh,
yeah, yeah, I can do that.
but yeah, sometimes with, internal teams, there's that whole seat at the table
Hmm.
thing. And it's, there could be some different dynamics. We've always
Yeah,
done things this way, just like different politics maybe at play.
sure.
And then also, just like general proving too, right? Like maybe I've steered wrong, before. I've
Yeah,
definitely done that. And then it's like, okay,
sure.
now we're not going to listen to her this
Right.
time.
You're 0 for 3 on these so far. We're not going to do the fourth one.
Hey, maybe you just don't come to this meeting anymore and we'll let you know what the decision
Not
is.
a good sign. That's a bad sign if you're hearing that, everybody.
Yeah.
No, I love that. And I think a part of that too is storytelling. I always consider that, like, if you're trying to build influence with somebody or you're trying to help them make a decision, it's telling a story. And your whole background of your career is in literal storytelling, right?
Yeah. Right.
And so I'm curious how do you think about that? Like, when you're about to have to go convince a team to do something, or even how you're positioning to the customer, right? Like, how do you go about building narrative? Like, what's your process for that?
Yeah. So I feel like I've had way more experience, like, with internal teams or like, having to advocate like for a budget, for example,
Sure.
or
Yeah.
having to
That's probably one that every marketer has, right?
right.
Especially these days. Like, you
Yeah.
got to fight for it.
Yeah, for sure. And, really, I always try to tie it back to like, well, what are your goals, right?
Yeah.
So if your goal is X amount in revenue, and we have data to show that we need X amount of sales, so we need X amount of leads. Like, my job is to get you this amount of leads.
Yeah.
I cannot do that with just this budget.
No money.
Like, it just, the math doesn't work.
Yeah.
And so I don't know if that's storytelling, maybe to like some accountants out there, like it's storytelling with
Yeah.
math.
They're like, that's a beautiful story. Yeah.
Yeah, right. They're like, "Oh, I get it now."
I
Like,
can
thank you
see
for
it in full
explaining
color.
it
Yeah.
this way. Whereas if somebody tried to do that for me, I'd like go
Yeah.
cross-eyed and
You'd
I'd
be
be
like,
like, "What are we talking about? Draw me a picture." Uh, but like, but sometimes like that is then really crystal clear, and you could
mhm.
take it to you know, two GMs or two presidents of companies, tell that exact same data story, and they will hear different things from it, and you
Yeah.
might get a yes from one and a no from the other. Um, but I always try to tie it back to like, what are the goals? Like, what is the vision for the year? And
Yeah.
like, I'm just really trying to make sure we're not like cutting ourselves off at the knees
Yeah.
before things even really get going. At the
Yeah.
same time, like, I'm not trying to spend a bunch of money. I don't take
Right.
pride in
Efficiency is
having,
good for you. Yeah.
yeah, I love to say, hey, we did all of this growth on a 5% marketing budget. Like, I
Right.
don't, it's like, there's no vanity to me to have like, oh, this 10-20% marketing
You're
budget.
you're better at your job if you can hit your results on lower budget, right?
Yeah.
Like, period. Yeah. Yeah.
For sure. So I think it's also then like, really being an advocate for the budget, saying, hey, like, we've like talking about your story, like, hey, we
Mhm.
have tried to get this vendor to come down. We've tried to renegotiate with them. This is going to be like, this is just what it's going to
Mhm.
cost. And we see it as a valuable lead source for this,
Yeah.
this, and this. And so if we put a little bit more in it, we anticipate we'll get this much out of it. So like,
Yeah.
your call, but what do you
Yeah.
What do you want? How
You've
much
got to
can
make
I
you've got
put
to
this
make them
out
see
for
what
you?
they're missing out on, almost, right?
Mhm,
Where it's just like, hey, I'm putting it all in front of you. Here's the data to support it, and I just want to help you.
mhm.
Help me help you, right?
Yes, but it becomes really hard if a company does not have, and then, they make that investment and it goes on and it works out and,
Yep.
we build from there. But it becomes really, really hard if a company doesn't have a good grasp of their monthly financials or,
Sure.
their annual
If the
budget.
baseline's not there, right?
Or if they're not even really budgeting and they're saying yes to some things that are nice to haves, but
Mm-hmm.
not like the core like marketing expenses we would recommend. And then, we're not able to then invest in some things that really will move the needle in the
Mm-hmm.
shorter term. So, um, yeah, if a company doesn't have a good grasp of their financials, it becomes a much tougher story for me to tell. And
Sure.
maybe I can sell them on the vision and building this like amazing brand and everything. But
Yeah.
size of companies I'm working with, they're also results driven too. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, it's nice. When it comes to, so I think something we've heard a lot on this show is people talk about how they step into their customers' shoes as much as possible, right? And I think what's interesting in franchising and multi-unit is I think fractional CMO work is bigger in franchising than like the average world. I feel like there's more fractional CMOs in franchising than there are in like other places. How do you go about that? Like, do you try to go and use every single brand you're working with? Like, do you try to become that advocate and like end user of everything?
Yeah, I love a good mystery shop.
Yeah.
So, yeah, like one of the first things I do, even just so I know, like from a marketing standpoint, what our
Sure.
baseline is I'm calling. Like I'll call, like I'll
Interesting.
submit inquiries on a website. I will,
Yeah, hit all the channels.
I'll call from their, their Apple Maps phone number. Like I'm deep diving. I'm seeing how many, I'll leave a voicemail. I'm seeing how many times I'm getting followed up with.
Hmm.
Uh, just so I can at least know. And usually it varies. Like there's no like standard, I feel like typically. So it's even just knowing like, okay, what is the baseline here of what we're working with? And then I, try to always work if it's possible for me, like my automotive, I obviously can't be a client of theirs because I don't have, a couple hundred grand to
Sure.
build of a, restoring a classic truck. But,
Yeah.
as much as I can, try to really either, become a client or a customer myself, or really try to understand like the mindset and the
Yeah. The
motivation.
user journey, the user experience throughout it
Mhm.
all.
Yeah. And sometimes even like presenting those findings is
Mm.
kind of like an unlock for leadership teams of like, oh, we always kind of knew that that was
Yeah. But
like
here
a
it is in front of your
component.
face.
But
Yeah.
now that you put it like that, like, yeah, we could do things like we could change up things like this, or we could, make the website easier to use, or we could, have a better quoting process or something like that, whatever it
Yeah.
is. But yeah, that's how I try to start. And then I'm always surprised too, because there's never just that one ideal client, right? It's
Oh.
always like
Yeah.
multifaceted. So I'm always, anxious to see, okay, what does the data say?
Mm.
And an example, one of the things I did with a client that I was just doing a deep dive audit on was they
Mhm.
had 40% of their website traffic was men,
Oh, interesting.
but only 15% of their customers were men.
That's a really high men bounce rate.
Yeah. And so,
What's happening? Yeah.
right? But then you go look at the website and you're like, I could see how a man wouldn't think that this is the
For
space.
them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh, So
That's a
even
challenge in health and wellness. I'm going to throw a guess out there that it was a health and wellness client, potentially, was it?
it was, yes.
Yeah, because I feel like a lot of that is there's a lot of like within health and wellness, like the self care ideology, the mindfulness ideology that really resonates with the female client more than the male client. Not that they don't need it as much as the female client, but I think to your point, it's a hard marketing truth to tell across gender.
Right. Well, and also too, like, back to storytelling.
Mm.
What is their experience when landing on the page? And,
Hmm.
yes, things speak different to men than they do to women. But we could still recalibrate the messaging to better serve
Yeah,
the men who are landing on the page. And, maybe they have their wife book the appointment.
book for
Uh,
them.
it's all
I
under their
may or may
wife's
not have
name.
been guilty at that point in my time of having a wife. You know, not gonna. call myself out or anything.
Yeah. But then also too, it makes a really, it then helps kind of redirect our creative strategy of,
Mm,
okay, we have all of these men that we're serving. Let's make sure that we try to get their testimonials,
yeah,
you know, at, you know, at least one every three, just so we can show that, the
this
results are
product
out.
is for you as well, right?
Because yeah, if we're only putting out stuff for women because it's easiest to get, then like, yeah, of course we're then kind of, getting more women. It's a snowball
Yeah,
effect. So
yeah.
let's just kind of reverse that a little bit and make sure that we're getting, we're spread out to the point where we're able to serve more people.
Yeah, I mean, I think that leads to a really interesting question. It's one I think about a lot. Like, you've got your core clientele, right? And like that is what the majority of all your effort and your energy goes to. You know exactly who they are. You know their persona. You know why, how they buy. How often and to what extent are you experimenting, right? Like trying different messaging, trying new demographics, because I feel like it's a really quick way for a brand to get stale when they're just like, we sell to 30 to 33-year-old women in the Midwest. Like, very quick way to run out of people to sell to, right? And so, like, how do you go about, testing out all those other demographics or languages or whatever you might need to?
Yeah, for sure. So, with my client in the health and wellness
Mm,
space, we just kind of deep delve into all of the data, website data, CRM data, social data, just really anything that we could pull from.
yeah,
And there really were some pretty clear like personas
sure,
that we were speaking to. However, not every um, location would like speaks to all three of those
right, right.
personas, right? So then it's like, okay, let's pick your top two and
Hmm.
let's run some messaging and let's see if that messaging hits. If it
Yeah,
doesn't hit, maybe you're this other persona and we just didn't really know it or we didn't catch it for some reason.
sure,
So usually it's like, hey, there's like some overarching themes. Let's lean
absolutely.
into those. And then let's see on the local level, like, then let's play a little bit on what messaging like specifically cuts through the noise of this market to reach the people that we're trying to reach.
Yeah, I've always found that so fascinating about like franchising and multi-unit is like you do have X number of little test kitchens, right? At the end of the day, where it's just like you can look at their area demographics and all of that stuff. And obviously, you're trying to find similar ones so you can expand in a consistent manner. But like there are nuances, and those nuances can be used throughout the entire brand. It's really interesting.
Yeah, yeah, and that's where I think my experience with the holding company really
I mean,
has come in
absolutely. Yeah.
because I can confidently say, "Hey, I know this is going to work for you. We're just going to need to keep refining it until it works as well as it possibly can, until it's fully optimized." But like,
Yeah.
I can have those conversations with them, knowing that like these are business owners who like their savings and everything is
Oh,
into
it's their life. Yeah. It's their
yeah.
generational wealth. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's like, I will like, we'll figure this out together. I'm confident that this is the right avenue. We just got to figure out the messaging.
Yeah, it's like going to the eye doctor. We know you need glasses. It's just like, is it number 4 or number 5? Is it number 2 or number 3? Right, and
Yeah.
eventually you'll get there.
Uh-huh.
Awesome. Would love to. We jump into our next section. We always do little quick hitter questions. The idea being short answer, 10, 15-second, first thing that comes to mind. How's that sound to you?
All right, let's do it.
Awesome. Starting off, what's a brand that you're not currently working with that you admire or think is awesome?
Um, oh, and you had that on the list of questions, and I immediately go blank. This reminds me of the first time I went live on air.
You're just like, I've got nothing in my brain right now.
Oh, you passed to me, and I think I was just like giggling.
You're just
It's like,
there's news today, everybody. There's
yeah.
news.
Something's going on. Yeah. A brand that I admire, honestly, I think Orange Theory is
Mm,
a really great example of a franchise brand that truly does become a household name. I
yeah.
have lived in many states. I've belonged to many different Orange Theories, and uh, I think first of all, like the service that they provide, like
Yeah.
that workout,
It's
right?
consistent and it's good.
Yeah, and it truly does live up to expectations.
Yeah.
Some teachers are better than others, but for the most part, like product is good, it's consistent. And then it's also very accessible. Like there's, I could travel for work, there's an Orange Theory near me. So
Oh yeah.
I really appreciate that. How they built that from the brand side, I can only imagine the
Hmm.
bootstrapping that went into getting that many franchisees and that level of success, and having like a system that is so
Their organic social
talented.
system is one of the best playbooks in the game. I would argue that any day of the week. Like they've got consistent types of posts they're doing. They've got consistent branding in every studio. So it's like it doesn't matter what they post, it's gonna hit. Like it's gonna speak right to that community. It's such a good
Yeah.
brand. I totally agree with that.
Yeah. I don't even follow them on social, so I probably
Throw,
should have looked into that.
it's
But it's a
ironically
great point.
we
I'm
wrote a
thinking
blog
about
post about it. Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, no, I think I first heard about them, like, word of mouth.
Yeah,
So,
that's how you know it's
I have a
good.
friend Yeah, exactly, like, those are the brands I love working with. But
Yeah,
go ahead. I
yeah,
will
we
look.
wrote a blog post about them, and it's our most visited blog
Mm,
page of all time.
yeah.
So they even help us by being so good at what they do. What's the best piece of advice you've received in your career?
This is back to, like, early journalism days, but I probably after that live shot that was a total train wreck, had just like a boss, a manager, mentor pull me aside, and they're just like, it's not necessarily what you say, because I would have, all my notes and
Sure.
everything. Like, I'm going to get all the facts correct and blah, blah, blah. They're like, it doesn't really matter so much what you say. It's, it's how you like look when you say it, not
Hmm.
necessarily like appearance wise, but like confidence and that stuff, how you look and just how you say it. Like, how is your voice? How is
Yeah.
your intonation? Like, what are you like coming across? And so that actually, was great advice for being on the news. That also, I think, has served me well working with leadership
Yeah,
teams.
great advice for the C-suite as well.
Yeah. And other things of just like, hey, not so much what you're saying. It's, how you're coming across as you're saying it. So,
Yeah,
yeah.
I've found the bigger you get in your career, it's just more and more of both, right? You have to say really good things and you have to say it really well, right? You can't do one or the other. You can't do a mix. It's got to both be really good.
Yeah, for sure.
I love that. What's a universal marketing truth that you've found to be essential or true across all the different brands you've touched? Because you've touched quite a few at this point.
Yeah. I would say the brands that truly live their values
Mm.
tend to just overall perform better.
Yeah,
I think the ones that say they're one thing and then act a different way run into a lot more roadblocks.
yeah,
So I would say like the values aren't fluff.
right. I love
Like
that.
they truly should capture, what it's like to work with you and then
Use the
like
service or
work
product. Yeah,
as an employee of your business.
yeah. It's really easy for them to be corporate bullshit versus cultural, right? Like if it's a part of the culture, you can feel it. You know it. You're acting that way. Everybody acts that way. The product feels it. If it's just corporate fluff, everybody also feels that too. You know?
Yeah. And even, as I've come up, I've worked for companies that people then say, oh, I need this. Like, should I use them? And I'm like, I
Yeah,
maybe wouldn't. And it's like, think of,
that resonates.
think of that. Yeah, for sure. So yeah, so I would say if you can make the investment and do what needs to be done to actually live who you say you are on paper,
Hmm.
they'll go way further.
Yeah, and then a last one. What's something most people don't know about you?
I am from Minnesota, and so if I have a couple cocktails, I can do a pretty good Minnesotan accent.
We were who was it? Christian Pahacek from Massage Lux was just on, and she's from Wisconsin.
Oh, is
She
she?
doesn't take a cocktail to hear the accent. Shout out, Kristen, for that.
Yeah, good
That's
for her. Oh, sure, you betcha.
yeah,
There you go. No
exactly.
cocktail, just because you brought up
Just for
Wisconsin.
the show. There we go. We got
Now
it.
it's coming out. No hot dish for Wisconsin.
You had to train that out of you for news, didn't you?
Well, it worked well when I was
When you were
in
there.
small market Minnesota. Did not work well outside of that. So
Yeah,
yeah,
it
I
doesn't resonate anywhere else,
had
I'd
to trade
imagine.
it out.
That's
Yeah.
hilarious. Final section. I like to make like a late night talk show host. Give you the pedestal. Talk about what you want to talk about. Sell what you want to sell. Where can people find you? What do they need to know about Grow CMO?
Oh, right now?
Oh yes, please.
Go. Let's see. So the Grow CMO, we are actually, what did Brooks say? Summarize what Brooks said so I can
Shh. It's on you. This is the sequel. We've got to hear how you say
oh yeah, okay. Well, first of all, go listen to Brooks' episode.
it.
She is the mastermind. And then come back here and listen to my version. But so the Grow CMO, we work with brands that are in periods of rapid growth or rapid transition. So we help grow, stabilize, whatever needs to be done with your marketing department, whatever that means for your business. You can find me on LinkedIn. I do a lot of posting there. So drop me a DM. You can connect with me, however that works. You can also go onto our website, which you will get a lot of Brooke focused content because, again, do as we say, not as we do. We haven't really spent a lot of time or resources
You're too busy with your clients.
in the site. Yes, we're too busy with our clients. But you can always reach out to us on there. Love just being a resource and answering questions. Also, if anybody does have a working Performance Max campaign that has been
Shout out.
working for more than 6 months, let me know. I'm happy to be proven wrong.
I love that. Beautiful. We heard it here. Performance Max users, let us know what's working. Drop it in a comment, I suppose.
Right.
But Megan, thank you so much for being on today. We really appreciate it. Love hearing your story. Love hearing your thoughts on everything.
Yeah, thank you. Oh, are you going to ask me what this giant
I
thing
can't. The giant Minnesota fish you got back
Okay,
there.
so you know what it is. That is a muskie, by the way.
Oh, a muskie. I
Yes,
don't know
I'm
what that is.
surprised
I
you.
don't fish. I would. My little brother and dad fish all the time, so I'm going to make them embarrassed for hearing me say that.
Yes, there you go. You can be like, I talked to this Minnesota chick and she had a muskie.
A giant muskie.
Yeah. So it's even bigger in person than it looks like on screen.
What are we talking square foot on the wall right now as a fish?
Oh, golly, that's a math question. I would say if I was standing next to it, it would go to my shoulders.
Okay, that's a large fish.
And I'm 5'6", so it's big.
I love that.
It's big. And then this is a tiki man. So now you know what my office setup looks like. It is my boyfriend's old office.
There we go. We've adopted it. It's working great. We love it. Shout out, boyfriend.
Yeah, right.
Awesome. Well, thank you again so much for your time, and everybody listening, thank you for your time as well. We hope you enjoyed this episode of Behind the Franchise, and obviously come back for the next one. Thanks again, everybody.